a visit to the shed in April 2024. I just tripped over one of those mats down there. Let's turn on the lights, center switch for the main lights. I've been experimenting with one of these hanging bag dehumidifiers. They do work very well, but of course they're one hit. You can't reuse them. I've been testing an ant miner, which I never fired up. It was only 30 quid a few years ago, and I bought it just for the fans because I thought it was a good way to get fans. It probably wasn't, because you can get them on AliExpress cheaper, but yeah, I've been experimenting with running that directly off a lithium iron phosphate battery connected directly, and that does seem to be working okay. There's another ant miner running down here. The light's on, you can see there. That's running from this buck converter, which is now warm, driven by this relay board, and that's coming from my first battery, which is a 8x4 array. I've put this contraption in front of it now, so you can't see that first battery too well, but there it is. So 25 volts, this battery. Well, it's currently 26.1. When it hits the upper limit of this, which is 28, and the lower limit is 23, so when this gets to 28 volts, that battery bank of course is fed from a solar panel. This relay turns on, goes through the buck converter, drops it to 12 volts, and the ant miner then completely depletes the battery down to 23 volts. The second battery system is here. This is a 5x8 array of 6 amp hour lithium iron phosphate. Got a balancer there, got the 8 voltmeters there. Actually, I'll turn the other light on because that means you can see all the voltages of all the 8 cell groups, the 8 columns of 5 cells. And this has also got a voltage controlled relay, same settings, 28 up, 23 is the lower limit, and that goes down into that buck converter down there, which I've put near the inlet fan of the ant miner to get airflow over it, even though that one is so efficient it doesn't really need it. This array of bulbs, they're all in parallel, these 8 bulbs, that's in line with the solar panel, so the solar panel goes through the array of 8 bulbs and into the battery to charge it. And then the second ant miner that I'm using is this one down here. You can see all my wires to take the 12 volt input and distribute it over across the hash boards there. Now that one's not running because that battery is quite low, 25.9, and that's because this battery is also feeding this contraption up here. This is one of my give and take relay mechanisms. So we've got this relay switching unit that's set to 26 as the high voltage, 25 as the lower voltage. So if that battery over there is above 26 volts, this turns on, that turns on this buck boost converter, and then if this turns on, this is the charge controller for the battery, which is this lithium iron phosphate battery over here. Yes, if this turns on, and it's got an upper limit of 14, it's strobing, isn't it? And a lower limit of 11.8. So if that lithium iron phosphate battery gets down to 11.8, then it will say, it will turn this relay on and say, I'd like to accept some charge. If the big solar charged battery over there is above 26, and this relay turns on and says I would like to supply some charge. And if both relays are on, and they are currently, because there's a red light there and there's a red light there, the sun's just come out, then this buck boost converter will do the energy transfer from one battery to the other. If I look out the window here, you can see the 2 solar panels, the nice 325 watt all black on the left, and the 240 watt, I think that's polycrystalline sort of blue coloured panel on the right. And currently the power levels are 2.7 amps coming from the big all black panel, and on here, 2.4 amps coming from the 240 watt blue panel. Now I'm currently in the process of changing these light strips for these cob lights, which can take up to 85 volts on the input. I've done one of them. The others are still the older style light strips, which don't light much more than about 12 volts. And when I've got all of these, then I can raise the voltage of my lighting circuit. So what I'm planning to do is move that lithium iron phosphate somewhere else and put a 8-cell sodium ion here, so that'll have a maximum 32 volts, minimum 16 volts, and that range of voltage is perfectly accepted by this style of cob light, so that'll work quite well with the large voltage variation of an 8S sodium ion battery. I do need to have a bit of a tidy up in the shed. It's full of these bottles of water, which I thought would work as a passive dehumidifier, that they would be cold and that moisture would collect on the outer surface of those, but it's not terribly effective. I'm going to come up with an idea for active dehumidification in the shed, and that's coming up. Oh, and I don't think I've shown this. This is a lithium titanate cell sitting on some pipe clips with, I think I did a video on the boost converter that works down to 2 volts, which is ideal for this lithium titanate. But I bought a couple of these duck paddle toggle switches. So on here, that one switches the LTO cell into the boost converter, and this one switches the boost converter into the output terminal block. So I will be using this as another battery for a separate area of lighting in the shed in due course. So that's an update on the modular shed situation. I'm getting 2 new panels actually tomorrow. I'm going to pick them up. They're all black panels, 340 watt they are, and then these two probably try and build a side wall of the shed using a panel in some way. I'm not entirely sure about that yet, but yeah, that's an update on the modular shed in April 2024. Cheerio.